Yo, I'm Pablo.
And this is Lance, and you're listening to the Noob and the Knower Fly Fishing Podcast.
In this podcast, we pair a driven angler with a seasoned professional to take you from total noob to a fly fishing nerd.
Yeah, we cover reading water, gear, fishing techniques, and much, much more.
With Mr. Lance Egan, star of hit video series Modern Nymphing, Fly Fishing Team USA medalist, and professional guide.
That's right, and here co-hosting, asking the questions on your behalf, is avid fly fisher and outfitter owner Pablo Signori.
So now, let's hit the water. Fish on! Season 4, Episode 6 of the Noob and the Knower podcast. We are back, people. Thanks so much for tuning in, and sorry for the little gap here in the episode release. We're making these as we can and pumping them out as soon as we can. So hopefully this is a fun one for you. Lance has been traveling. He was in Louisiana for a little bit, chasing some big redfish, and now he's in Chile chasing some big brown trout. And I myself was in Mexico running the lodge that I have down there in Ixcalac on the border with Belize, and we actually had the coolest group come through. It was some people from Housefly, Fly Fishing, Crooked Creek Holler, and Forest Outdoors. They were a huge group of friends. There was like a friend group, and I just got to usurp it and become friends with the group and be part of it. So couldn't have had a better time. Work is work, but when you get to work with really, really cool people, it makes it really enjoyable. So I was very blessed and happy to be in that situation and thankful to them. And it's sort of a reminder of the amount of cool people, like-minded people, and just amazing human beings in fly fishing is just wild. Constantly meeting people that just, I don't know, that I resonate with. So that was really cool. I hope you guys feel that way about the podcast because that's what we're trying to present for you guys as well. So anyway, today we're talking about a trip that we took to the Paraná River chasing golden Dorado in Northeastern Argentina. This is part of our journal series where we sort of recap trips and say what we learned about them and sort of give a picture of what the trip was an experience of and just try and sort of spread the word about other fisheries in the world, different fish in the world, different species and styles, and it's just an interesting topic to begin with, so I think it's important to have it on the show. A large part of learning how to fly fish is understanding things outside of your own realm or the things that you chase. Whether you go do it or not is a different thing altogether, but knowing that they exist allows you to look into new techniques and also just be more of a well-rounded angler. So that's sort of the purpose of this journal series. This particular episode is about this species, the golden Dorado, and some other ones in there too. On this trip, we set up a group of anglers to go on what we call at my outfitter the Mobile Lodge, which is basically like a mobile base camp. It's a huge 4x4, a Scania 410 X Dakar Rally support truck that I don't think this sort of operation really exists anywhere else in the world, but we get people to basically live on this thing for like a week. And it's set up with, kitchen and bathroom, shower, hydraulics on the ceiling. So like the whole roof is cut as a separate part and it raises up on the second floor. You can actually stand up in there. Pretty cool setup. And it allows us to get way back into the weeds and into the backcountry, put people right on the water and sort of live in a more rustic, sometimes bucolic, but not always location while they're fishing for a week or however long they want to go. So this was a cool trip that we decided to do. You can go fish for golden Dorado and stay at a lodge, but this was sort of a different approach, and I think that it ultimately panned out really, really well. One of the other cool things about this episode in particular is that we actually feature one conventional angler and one fly fisher. So what's cool about that is that I think there's a lot to be learned from the gear guys, and actually I want to just publicly call myself out because when I first started the pod, I was kind of closed-minded and a bit harsh to our conventional angling friends. And I think it was just honestly really ignorant and judgmental. And I'd like to publicly apologize for having that mindset. I don't know if you guys picked up on it or not, but I know what I was thinking in my head. And I just thought that fly fishers were more dialed or more intellectual. And it was just a really douchey way to think. I've learned so much from the gear guys, and I realize that they're oftentimes a lot more dialed than we are. And each pursuit has its own advantages, right? Am I switching to gear? No, I'm way too in love with fly fishing, and I love the act of casting as well as fighting the fish with your line in the hand. But I do have a tremendous amount of respect for our fishing counterparts in the gear space. And I think that, there is a little bit of snobbery that goes on in the fly fishing scene that just needs to be quelled. And again, I was part of it when I first started because I feel like I just sort of consumed the culture a little bit, that side of it. And it's just really embarrassing now at this point, but I just wanted to call myself out for that. And I really had a good time fishing around this conventional angler, Billy, and seeing how he did his whole setup, as well as outfished us by a lot, which isn't really a surprise. That's my 2 cents. I've made my public service announcement. I hope you guys understand, and thanks again for your patience. Let's get on to the show, y'all. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about a trip we took to the upper Paraná River in northeastern Argentina, chasing golden Dorado and a bunch of other species too. We had the lucky time of having the Zylstra brothers, Bobby and Billy. And Bobby's a buddy of mine from a while now, but we sort of met through fishing, I guess. Yeah, through fishing. And he's here with us now. You know, he's remote, so we're in 2 different locations. But he went on the trip with me, with his brother. And actually, it's kind of funny because my brother went too on this one. So it was like 2 bands of brothers, which was kind of fun. Bobby, why don't you introduce yourself? Thank you for being on the show, by the way. You can tell us a little bit about who you are, your occupation, how long you've been fishing, what styles of fishing you like, and what types of places, and anything else you think is important.
Well, great to be on the podcast, Paulo. Thanks. And yeah, it's been great knowing you. And it was awesome that you guys came on the trip too. So it made the trip that much better. Yeah, my name is Bobby Zylstra. I've been fishing for many years, really since I was a little kid. Grandfather taught me how to fish and fish saltwater, freshwater. Of course, started with spinning gear. And I've actually only been fly fishing for 5 years now, I think. 4 years, maybe, somewhere in there. Kind of that's how I met Pablo, through the Orvis store and knowing good old Ray.
Ray.
He's been on the podcast before too, so we kind of linked up through that. And started fly fishing in Chicago just because, as you know, Pablo, fishing in Chicago is pretty tough. So I was like, I'm already casting a whole lot with my spinning gear, so I might as well just learn how to cast a fly rod. So that's awesome. Kind of what I ended up doing. I was like, let's just pick up fly fishing because I'm going to be casting a whole lot. So it's kind of how it happened a little bit.
That's amazing. And you're originally from Florida, right?
From Chicago, born in Chicago, grew up in Florida.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize you were born in Chicago. That's nuts. This whole time I thought you were born in Florida.
Yep, southeast side of Chicago originally, and then grew up in Florida. So I always like to joke around. People either fish or golf, and my brother and I went fishing.
No, I love it. That's cool. You guys are really good at it. It was impressive, I must say. I mean, I've fished with you before, but kind of seeing you with your brother and like your element was pretty sweet. And we're going to get into that in a bit. So when you grew up fishing, what were you typically targeting?
We had a lake in our neighborhood and we'd fish for largemouth bass pretty often. Pretty much all the time. And then we also fish kind of the intercoastal around Naples, some of the passes and things.
Nice.
A lot. You know, I even got the nickname Old Man in the Sea in high school at one point because we were there all the time.
That's hilarious.
But
what kind of fishing were you doing?
Just spin fishing, exploring the backwaters. You know, sometimes live bait, but eventually we got mostly just lures and kayak, john boat. You know, just
nice
putzing around in the mangroves, basically.
Okay, for someone who's kind of ignorant, because I've done spin fishing and I've done bait fishing, but it was all like super rudimentary. Are there people that are like into one or the other, or is like one a gateway drug to the other, or is there like a progression?
Yeah, I think it could be, you know, both things. It could kind of be the gateway drug, really. I mean, I feel like a lot of people start there, even though now having my own kids, I think teaching them fly fishing might not be that hard because you're just moving a rod versus like trying to futz with a reel and figure all that out. You know, you're just kind of swinging a rod and stripping line.
That makes sense.
So it might actually be easier. I'll find out soon. My son's only 4, so... But he's, you know, I've given it to him and he flings it around and stuff.
And he can cast 90 feet.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think it's more of a progression for myself personally. I actually kind of stopped fishing when I moved back to Chicago just because I didn't really know what the fishery was about or if there was even fishing around really. I was also super busy doing lots of different weird stuff. And fly fishing kind of became a new thing to learn. And I really enjoy like learning new things, and I'm an architect, so I learn lots of things about a lot of things. But
he's highly intellectual.
Yeah.
And also not at the same time, which is why I love Bobby.
So it was just it's a new way of fishing, and has its own new set of challenges. It's also a new style to even catch more fish, right? Like,
right.
Fly fishing, trout probably isn't my number one thing I'm going to target, but now I can, pretty
right
easily with fly fishing, and you're going to have more success most of the time fly fishing for trout than you would spin fishing, right? So
I would imagine it's the better technique in most cases. As Lance would say, it's situational, but probably in most cases.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. Let's move on a little bit because I kind of want to get into this trip, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my takeaways because we'd been fishing together a couple times, and it's just been sort of insane seeing how fast you progressed because, we went fishing in the driftless. I don't know, when was that? Like 3 years ago or something, maybe? It was a long time ago.
Yeah, probably 3 years ago, something like that.
So, and you were already, part of it is you're already such a seasoned angler. Like you and your brother are like really good fishermen. And now it's just like fly fishing is just a new, technique in your, box of toolkit or whatever you want to call it. So It makes sense that you're naturally going to progress faster probably than someone that was starting from zero. So, we went fishing for smallies this summer when you came to town, which was a blast.
It was awesome.
R.I.P. that spot. But
we won't talk
it's a
about
whole
that.
other story. Yeah. The law got involved, but we're not going to talk about that. But I was just crazy. It was crazy seeing you fish in Argentina because like it had only been like a few months and you clearly had been practicing in like the off time. And your casting had was like, from when we first went fishing the driftless to the smallies, your casting had like 10x. It was just insane. Like he came in and he was like, all right, we started casting on this river and he was just like bombing casts. And then we went to the Paraná and he was even more so. And I was like, dude, this kid's insane. Like you just learned so quickly. It's very impressive and very cool to see. So kudos to you.
Appreciate it.
It's proof to anyone out there who's like feeling like they can't get it. Once it clicks, it can click quite quickly if you put the time in, which Bobby definitely has. He's the kind of guy that will be relentless with this kind of stuff. And you were texting me actually that you were practicing, and I remember at some point you were like, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready.
Yeah, it was. It helps to have a lake behind my house, even just to practice.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
People practice in the grass and stuff, but it's not the same. Without the water and having a fly.
Especially for like what we were doing over there, where it's like so much of it is just a water load, right? It's like pick up, shoot line behind you, and then cast. You kind of need that tension to help.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think the casting really, you caught a lot of nice fish, and I think a huge part of it was just that your casting was so on point. So what I wanted to do a little bit was now we can talk a little bit about how the trip was as far as the fishing, because I think that's what really people care about the most. But then we can talk about what you learned on the trip, which is the other part that people should care about, but they actually don't. So tell me about Dorado, because that was the reason we went there was because you hit me up. You're like, hey, you have an outfitter now. Well, I guess we were talking about it, and I was like, through the course of that conversation, I randomly had an outfitter, and you were like, well, I've always wanted to fish for Dorado. It's on my bucket list. So talk to me a little bit about this, because you've got a lot of species under your belt at this point, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I've caught a lot of different fish, especially saltwater helps open that up, of course, for tons of different species. And now on the fly rod too, of course.
Yeah.
Before spinning gear, but now I'm starting to check them all off again. So that's another thing too. You get to check them off again.
That's cool.
Using a new style fishing, but yeah, I had this idea in my head when I was going to turn 40, and my brother and I were both twins, so he turns 42. So I was like, we got to do something epic.
Yeah, he turned 40 also. He turned 42, you said. It was confusing.
He turned 40 also, yes, instead of 2. He is older than me by a couple minutes, so he turned 40 first. But fair. Was kind of when I was a little kid. I've always loved nature and fish, and it's not even just about the fishing necessarily, but it's about like a new experience of a new place and traveling and fishing at the same time. I've never done it before either, so this is my first time also.
Very cool. And you've traveled quite a bit. What was cool about what you kind of wanted, what you were telling me, you're like, I want to catch Jolton Dorado, but I also want to have a cultural experience, which for me is kind of how I am when I travel. It's like, of course, I'm obsessed with fishing. I have a fishing podcast and I own an outfitter. Like, that says enough. But
Right.
I also want to get the culture, and you were very adamant about that, which for me, someone like me, that's very like exciting, like to be able to provide that for someone is very cool.
So I've traveled quite a bit, like you said, been to lots of different places around the world, luckily, and it's been fantastic. My wife has helped me out with that and getting out, and we've done a lot of traveling, but never traveled to fish necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I almost always bring my fly rod somewhere, if we get a day or two randomly to fish for a minute, might as well. But this was the first time like actually gearing up to take a trip to go fish for a new species, which was really awesome.
That's awesome. It's an honor to be a custodian for that.
I appreciate it. You were a great custodian.
It sounds like the bar's pretty low if it was your first trip.
I don't know. Maybe you set the bar high now. I don't know. We'll have to go on another one.
That's true. That's true. We do have to do that. Let's talk a little bit about the experience there, because what I liked about what you wanted to do was you wanted to take what we call our mobile lodge, which is really like a 4x4 truck experience. We have this crazy Scania, and we can put it in the show notes at some point. But the point is that the way we did this trip was very unique because, and maybe you should tell it because I want to kind of get it through your lens, but it wasn't like we just like went to a lodge and were pampered the whole time, right? It was a little bit more rustic than that in a good way, I think. But tell me a little bit about the experience and what it entailed.
Yeah, I mean, that was from you, Paulo. You're like, oh, we got this crazy truck. And then you're like, well, let's do a new trip with this truck. And I was totally in. And my brother loves off-road vehicles. He's got a crazy Jeep that is super cool.
Yeah, that thing's so
and,
sick.
I mostly car camp when I fish, around Missouri where I'm at now. So, camping is not, anything new while fishing. So, you said it was rustic and it was going to be an adventure, and I got super stoked. I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
That's even more interesting to me, when you sent that email that was like, oh, it's going to be an adventure and not quite, pampered, I was like, all right, that's awesome. And I think even the Argentine culture, lends itself to that,
Truth.
All the cooking over campfire, you've made me one when we went to the Driftless one time, you're like, I'm doing everything. I'm like, okay.
I do love doing that,
so,
the wood fire cooking. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's there's a million ways to do it, right? And I think a lot of people enjoy going to the lodge and doing sort of the traditional experience, and then there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think what's cooler and what we were trying to do with my business partner is just create sort of more bespoke trips that are not cookie cutter. It's not like what you see on every website that has an outfitter. We're really trying to do stuff that's, well, first of all, cheaper, but also cheaper just because we think that's the right thing to do, but also things that are more of an experience and maybe something no one's ever done. Like I can guarantee you no one's gone in a truck like that. Oh, clearly you saw that because the people in the town were like freaking out about this thing, right?
I mean, yeah, if you don't want to go unnoticed, don't take that giant orange truck. Drive it around.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywhere, so it was great. I mean, even being in like kind of a more remote place that wasn't so private, I also loved, it was great to see people like locally just fishing the bank and like doing their thing. And I mean, we even saw a guy with his Surubi that he just slapped over his moped, and drove off. Yeah. You're like, okay, which was cool, like
giant leopard
it's cool
catfish.
To see people just doing their thing.
Yeah, and it ended up being an adventure because the first day, so you guys flew in to Buenos Aires. You stayed there one night, correct?
Yep, just overnight pretty much.
Right, and then the next day you flew to Chaco. Mm-hmm. We picked you up in the truck.
In the truck.
In the massive truck. It's basically like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a Mack truck that has hydraulics and the top opens up and you can stand on the top floor. It's I don't know how to describe it. There's pictures online. Google it. So we picked you up on that thing, and then the idea was to go set up camp that first day. But the problem was there was like this torrential downpour, and because the location of where we were going to set up camp was like back by the river, you had to drive through like this nuts dirt road, like soft mud road, really.
Sure.
And the truck would have gotten stuck. So we actually ended up camping at the gas station, which was also a trip. I found this video that I took, and I got to put it online because it's just so good. Because I forgot we did this, but like Argentina's national soccer team was playing that day. They were playing Bolivia, and we had like a tiny phone set up on the back of the truck because we had like Starlink, so we were getting signal. Oh, actually, we didn't need Starlink at that point, but
we didn't. No.
It's like 7 dudes all around Santi's phone, and I'm like walking towards you guys, and I realize, oh, the game's on, and like we're just like in a gas station at like 10 p.m. watching the soccer game on this massive truck. I mean, it was just like completely surreal.
It was.
That is the cool thing about that truck. It's just like you never know what's gonna happen, you know. And then the end of the trip, we ended up camping like literally in the airport, which was also just so bizarre.
That was awesome. It was like you start the trip in the truck, and then we ended the trip literally in the truck.
Yeah, it was sick.
Like just parked in the grass at the airport.
Yeah, it was something that would never be allowed in the United States of America, but they let us camp like on the grounds of the airport.
Yeah.
So when Bobby and Billy had their flight to go back home, it was at 5:30. We woke up, or 5.
Yeah.
We walked like, I don't know, 50 yards to the door of the airport with the bags, and we were there. Yep. It was kind of insane. Anyhow, all right, well, let's talk about the fishing because we got derailed there.
Even though, I mean, that was fun. I mean, the breakfast at the gas station was top notch, for being a gas station. Blows anything out of the water in the U.S.
Yeah, the gas station food in Argentina is actually really good, I have to say. I had eaten quite a bit of it on that trip, even after you left, which was kind of funny.
Nice.
But it's pretty on point, which is good. Because they're cooking it there, it's not like prepackaged stuff. They're actually like making you a meal, which is nice. But we can talk about the food in a second, because the food actually I thought was really good.
It's really good.
Our chef, that was weird about the setup, is that it's like a rustic trip, but you have a chef too, right? And you got like the truck driver, the guy who drives the truck kind of is there sort of being auxiliary. And then there's the guides as well. So it's like a bunch of dudes camping, but like there's staff involved,
right,
which is
so
helpful.
We weren't camping, I mean, we not really.
I mean, it was like,
glamping. It's sure.
But it's not really glamping either, because it's like, well, my wife would hate it. I just know that.
I mean, we ran out of water after taking 24 showers. So
yeah, there you go.
That turns into.
Exactly. So the second day we finally we got through the road, but there was like a treacherous pass that we made our way through. We nearly died, but we made it back there. We set up camp, and then that's kind of when the whole thing really started. The setup was 2 boats, right? It was my brother and I on one boat with Santi, my business partner, and then you and your brother on another boat. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about like the actual experience of fishing, like the day fishing, kind of how it starts through the middle and how it ends?
The fishing was great. It exceeded my expectations. I don't really know if I even had any expectations really, but obviously the goal is to catch at least a Dorado, a golden Dorado. And
you caught multitudes of
I caught multiple. I don't want to make you feel bad, Paulo, but I caught a Dorado every outing.
Yeah, no, I know you did.
Even not 2 or 3.
I know you did. Yeah, we were outfished.
But it was great to get to camp. You break out all your gear. The adrenaline's pumping, especially day one. You're just super excited to get out there. The first impression of when we first got there, it like blew me away how like vast and kind of beautiful the river was. Living in Missouri, I live next to the Missouri River. It's like 10 minutes from my house. And, it's big muddy, that's the nickname. Yeah. I thought it was going to be, in the U.S., most of the big rivers are pretty muddy until you get further up to the headwaters. So that's what I was kind of expecting, to be kind of turbid and not crystal clear and like just vast and huge, with the islands and things. So I had no idea what to expect really fishing wise, because, everybody shows like, oh, the fish, like here's a picture of the fish. You're like, all right, cool. Like no one really talks about techniques or what you're doing or what you're looking at.
Yep.
More and more I'm starting to dig in and you find some of that stuff. So I didn't really know what to expect. I kind of had my fly box that I had put together before the trip, bought some flies, had a guide here locally tie some flies for me. And I just opened my box and I was like, Brian, which fly?
Brian was the guide, yeah.
Yeah. Brian Jones.
Brian Jones. It was the Argentine guide, which is so classic. A lot of English were there mining in the early 1900s, so there's a lot of Brian Joneses going around.
Which was great, between his, kind of broken English and my bad broken Spanish, by the end of the trip, we had a great rapport going and learned lots of different stuff about the fishery. So it was great. We were the first Americans he's ever taken out, he told us, which was kind of cool.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. There's basically like two different types of Dorado fishing. There's fishing on these big, big rivers where they have like basically structure, which is a lot of fallen trees and stumps. And you're basically floating the river like you would almost like a trout stream and just like banging the banks, but you're hitting the structure, right? And then there's the ones that a lot of people see on Instagram, which is, the lodges that are in Bolivia, which we actually have an operation that's in Argentina that looks a lot like that, which there's smaller rivers, they're super clear, and it's sight fishing. So I've been telling people sort of like you get your sort of 101 Dorado fishing on the big river, and then as you get better at it, because there is a learning curve, then you get down to the more sight fishing style. And for any of the listeners that watch Fly Fish Food, they went on a Dorado trip on the Upper Paraná, which is the exact same area we were at. I don't think they were fishing the same stretch of river, but it's a similar feel. So that's kind of what we were doing. We were on speedboats, and we would get to a spot, we'd get to the top of the current, and we would float down. And as we floated, we were casting at targets on the bank. So just to paint a picture for anyone listening.
Yeah, it's not Bolivia at all, and that's mostly what you see, because that's like the more Instagrammable deal, right? Which is totally different, right? It's like a lot of blind casting.
Yeah.
Which I'm used to.
You don't catch nearly as many fish. Instagram is a lie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We could talk about that too with the fish themselves, but
yeah, totally.
So we pull up to a spot, we're just kind of crashing the bank. My brother's got lures on one side. I got my fly rod on the other side, which actually worked out. I think it worked out for you all too, sort of,
Mm-hmm.
A tip thrown in there is go with a left-handed person if you're right-handed and vice versa.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But, so he's casting lures, I'm casting fly rod. I actually had a follow from a fish. I'm not still sure what it was, like probably like 5 casts in. So then, of course, the adrenaline's just going. But then it kind of slowed down. We didn't really see fish. I think I saw a fish flash my fly, and then finally had a really good cast. You're starting to feel it. Day one is just like cast, just get loose again. You haven't fished in a little bit. And hooked up with the first Dorado. Super cool eat. I'll probably remember it forever because, of course, it's the first one. There was actually a pack of 2 of them.
That's so cool.
One kind of swirled on the fly, and then the next one just came and T-boned it.
That's so
sick. It was so sick. We're using floating lines, which was cool because you got to, your fly's pretty visible most of the time, unless you're really dredging it down there. And so it was awesome. Yeah, to catch the first one. Of course, it's like the first one, so it's like super cool. Adrenaline's going, but also too, it like loosens up the rest of the trip, right? For me, at least, it feels that way. It's like, you get that first one, I'm not going to get zeroed for 5 days,
Yeah. I mean, you spend money to get there, you spend the time to get there. It's kind of a journey just to get there. And then it's like, of course, in the back of your head, you're always like, oh, what if I don't catch a fish?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's totally possible, or the weather is totally junk, the weather cut half a day of fishing with no big deal. That weather almost screwed up the whole trip. We didn't even talk about the hurricane situation, but
totally. Yeah, it's true. He was coming in from Florida and there was when the hurricane hit.
So my brother was in Florida and I was meeting him there first, and hurricane came through, and that's a whole mess, but worked out okay. But yeah, fishing was fun. And then that day one, you start to learn a little bit each day. You kind of, okay, now we got to cast how far I'm casting, what flies we're kind of looking at most of the time. That was unexpected too. The flies, I had a friend here tie for me, great guide here in Missouri, much larger. Because I did watch that Fly Fish Food episode. Yeah. And, they tied that giant fly. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So then most of the flies I caught fish on were much smaller, probably only in that like 6-inch range, probably. Like 5 to 6-inch range, which was interesting. And I loved the fly fishing in general too. It was just super fun to try to, kind of hit these like really crucial small targets sometimes under trees, on top, around stuff.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah, like let it sit for a little bit and then strip, when you think it's getting real close to the tree, and there was a fish a lot of times sitting right where they thought it would be. Sometimes not though too, you're like, it's a bomb cast, and then nothing.
Yeah, that's happening. I mean, it is fishing still.
It's still fishing, right?
It's not simulated. Well, it might be, but we don't know.
Yeah. So mostly blind casting and no sight casting at all. We tried to fish. We did try to fish the sandbars a couple times, just to get it would be super cool to get one from a sandbar. No luck there. I think my brother actually lost one, he said, from the sandbar bank, but it was just cool to get in the water too. Like I said, it was, super unique water. Sand was really super interesting. Walking around down there and casting from the sand was also harder than from the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just get used to casting from the boat. You have so much back cast and
you can hold so much more water, more line in the air.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fishing was awesome. Like I said, I caught at least a Dorado. I actually caught 2 that first day. I know you guys did pretty well that first day. You had talked about it.
We did great the first 3 days, and then we sucked the rest of the days. Not really. I just kept losing. I would hook a fat ass fish, and then I would lose it. That was just kind of the moral of the story for the last 3 days.
Yeah, and so I got 2, and I actually caught 1 just swinging, which I learned from you from that smallmouth trip, how to swing better, actually from that smallmouth trip. So I used it.
Oh, cool.
Every once in a while.
Cool. I taught you something? That's random.
Yeah, dude. No. And then I was like, man, you got to be able to swing for these fish. So I just mended a bunch and then I got one on the swing, my second fish.
Cool. Yeah, because everyone listens. Because I'm the noob, everyone thinks I suck at fishing. And I kind of like it that way. Because then when I go fish with them, they're like, oh, he's not that bad, actually.
Nah, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, when I started it, I don't know what I'm doing, but when I started it, I was real newbie. Yeah. When I first had George Daniel, I was doing the pilots. I was asking him all sorts of weird questions. He was like, "Well, no, you don't want to slap your rod on the thing in front of the fish." I'm like, "Oh, you don't? I thought you're supposed to do that." We've come a long way.
Maybe not your rod, but the fly sometimes that does.
Yeah,
work.
The fly sometimes.
Really smack it down. I think that actually maybe happened for my. So really, sometimes it helps to be a bad caster, really, because if you want that thing to hit the ground, it's something to hit the water, Yeah. My best fish I caught, I'd say it was probably 10 pounds if I had to guess, somewhere in there. It was just it was the fattest fish we caught. It was stout, but it was just girthy. Huge belly compared to all the other fish that were pretty lean.
That's awesome.
I cast it, it fell short. And I was like, that didn't feel quite good enough. So I stripped, because I heard somewhere they were like, okay, don't just recast right away.
Right.
Because they could spook. They have a very good lateral line to be coming up from sometimes pretty deep to crush a fly up at the surface that's moving fast, as fast as you can move it. And that's what I learned after day 1. I was like, okay, you got to move this fly quick.
Yeah.
But that big fish, I recasted, and as soon as it hit the water, I just barely moved the fly and it just came up.
Dang.
Just full head out of the water, just gone. So I think it thought it was a bird or something potentially that fell in the water and it just.
That's crazy.
So that was super cool. And to get it on my friend's fly, that was day 3. I had caught a couple Dorado using the smaller flies, kind of in the medium range, I would say. Pretty average, probably 3 to 5 pounds probably for the smaller ones.
Okay.
And then I was like, all right, I felt good. I've caught a few. Let's use my buddy's big flies. The guides didn't really want to use them. They thought they were super cool, but they were like, we don't really know.
Right.
And so I was like, let's do it. So I just felt really good day 3. I think we finally got some sleep,
Yeah.
Finally, after traveling 5, 6 a.m. flights, it's just get tired. So I was like, let's do it. And I just felt really good casting. It was felt really, really good. I felt like I cast that 9-inch fly, maybe 80 feet,
Yeah.
On fire. And it worked out. And then that was the trip for me, actually. It was boom, caught a super nice fish, on my buddy's fly. I was like, all right, this is,
Yeah, that's why you came there.
Yeah, exactly. It was okay, this was super fun. I mean, it'd been fun the whole time.
Of course, but that's the cherry on top.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I even want to go back already. I mean, I'm like, all right, can I do this every year? Maybe. Let's see.
I know. That's what me and Mario were talking about. We're like, I don't know. There's something. My brother was like, he's like, I think this is my favorite fish to fish ever. He's like, it's just so fun. The whole style, the setup, everything is just so entertaining.
Yep. Yeah, it was so cool.
This is a promo for a company called Forest Outdoors that I think is turning fly fishing style upside down. It's a brand new company out of New York City, and the owner came down to the lodge, so I got to meet him, and I kept on thinking, this dude's style is insane. Where is he getting these fly fishing clothes? Well, turns out it's his company, and it's called Forest Outdoors, Foris Outdoors. They're really blending timeless style with modern like performance wear, and I really liked that there's like a deep respect for nature and conservation, and they're kind of honoring the past while embracing the innovations of today. Their designs take inspiration from like classic outdoor aesthetics, but they use high quality materials and sustainable practices. Everything's hand sewn, made in the USA and Japan, and honestly, it just looks really cool. If you have an indie rock aesthetic, or if you're into vintage clothes, but you are beholden to the fishing gear that is currently on the market, this could be the solution for you. Check them out, Forest Outdoors. That's Foris outdoors.com. They deserve a look at.
We fished mostly in the mornings and the evenings. Fishing for Dorado at least kind of slowed down a little bit when the sun would kind of come higher up, around noon. Even though we did have some success when the clouds would kind of come around and the fish would seem to turn back on. Which was interesting. But then we'd fish for pacu, that was super fun. Check off another fish doing a weird technique.
Yes.
I think I had your dry fly 10-foot rod the first day fishing for pacu. I'm like throwing this rock around. It's not right, but made it work.
The pacu is the fish with the human teeth, they say. And you look at it online, it looks like it has like human teeth. It's really weird, but it's because they eat these like little nuts and berries that fall from the trees. So talk about the technique there.
Well, with your rod, it was just lobbing it around, but
yeah, it's not really meant for that.
I mean, yeah, it's just it's like bead fishing for salmon, pretty similar to that. So you're just sliding a bead on a small, like little 1/0 hook, like bait hook, basically. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're just kind of dead drifting it. You're almost tight lining it, really.
Yeah,
waiting
you can.
Yeah, kind of waiting for the bead to float through the water, and you feel the strike.
Fall and but you're casting. You're trying to make it plop so that they hear it drop, and then that kind of activates them to come hit it. Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes you would see them kind of school and like attack like piranha on the bead.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
And they're shaped sort of like a sunfish or something, or like a permit. So they're like little one. Fights a lot because it's like hard to get them to move in the water. They're pretty powerful.
Yeah,
they're
like
a big one.
Yeah, like Jack and Permit. They're kind of flat, so or Pompano. They fight hard because they just kind of you're pulling outside. And I caught a decent pacu, so that was cool.
Nice.
Like there was 3 kinds of pacu. I think we only caught 2 kinds. Did you guys catch 3? I don't remember.
We caught 3. Yeah,
you caught the 3. My son, ironically, at 4 loves clocks. So they had the clock pacu relo.
Yeah.
And then,
it's called a relojito.
Yeah.
Little clock.
Even though I did catch one that was probably like that big. It was a huge relo.
That's legit. It's like a small dinner plate.
So it was cool, to just like switch it up, do something a little different. You're not bombing casts anymore, and still kind of a round structure and a much smaller water, which was kind of cool. See more.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that too. Yeah, and you'd see birds, and there's their version of an alligator that was all over the place, which was kind of cool too.
Yeah, the caiman were cool to see also. We actually saw an otter in one of the smaller creeks too.
Oh, jacare.
Jacare, yes, yeah, that's right, jacare.
That's an old Tupi word. Jacare.
Jacare. That's right. It was jacare. I was like trying to think of it too. I was like,
yeah. So,
which we ate. That was delicious.
That's true. We did. We had breaded. It was delicious. It was really good.
Delicious.
Let's talk about the food. That's a good segue. The food was nuts. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought Caesar did a great job.
Yeah.
We were testing this chef out, and we knew he was good because it had been recommended, but we didn't know what his deal was. We had never used them before because normally we use Hernan, but he was unavailable. And I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I also thought so too. I mean, some of the best empanadas I've ever had.
They were delicious.
Pretty much hands down. Pretty close anyway.
Yeah, they were delicious.
They're very, very good. I gave him the nickname of Country Fried. But
nice. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he fried a lot of food. Yeah,
he was good at frying food. It was very good.
It was all on wood fire. He was using what's called a disco, which is basically a plow blade that's retired from service that they put sides on. They solder sides on it. It becomes like this big sort of massive cast iron sort of cauldron, and then they use that to cook. So I have one here, and I use it a lot. It's one of my favorite things to do, but I don't get to use it as much as I'd like to because my wife won't let me get one of those turkey fryer burners. But I want to get because I want to do it on the deck. But she said I have too many grilling toys on the deck, so I only get to do it when I camp.
Yeah, it was cool to see that too, and then to like have that story behind it, and it was interesting to see they had knives and stuff too that were like made from different pieces of old metal, and that was really interesting. In Argentina in general.
What I liked about the chef is that he was like a very Criollo chef. Like Criollo is like the mix. That's why we have the outfitter name. That's the mix between like the European Spanish culture with the native culture. That sort of mix is called Criollo. So Criollo cooking, probably the standard would be an empanada. Mm-hmm. So his whole vibe was Criollo. Like everything that he was doing with the wood and with the fire and the way he was cooking and handling that whole thing. He made locro, which is also a traditional dish. It was like that corn stew.
The stew, that was very good too. Yeah, we ate that twice, which was good.
Yeah, that was we had leftovers. That was so good. That's like the most traditional thing you could eat. And he made it in the disco, which I'd never seen, which was a very cool thing also. That's not typically made there.
I mean, I was super impressed because the wood that everyone had was not good. For that style of cooking, like just branches, it wasn't really great wood for that, so it was impressive.
Well, actually, the wood that they had they brought it was specific for cooking. Yeah. So it was actually really good wood.
Okay.
When I made the barbecue that one night, I didn't realize that there was different piles, and they came over and they're like, don't use that wood. That wood's not for that. And I was like, well, thanks for telling me that. Like it's like pitch black out here. I can't see the wood, and I wouldn't have known either way.
Okay, well, there's better wood then.
In Cordoba, we just use quebracho. Quebracho blanco, it's like, that's all we use, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, the food was excellent. Every night, paired with some good Argentinian wine, it was excellent. Beer too, it was fun. It was a good time.
All right, well, let's get into a little bit of what I really care about. I have a couple questions for you, so we can kind of go through them. The biggest question I have for you that I'm very curious about is, what did you learn from the trip? What was the biggest takeaways from an angler's perspective?
Well, fishing a new fishery was super interesting, and like I said, kind of the first time sort of, especially going like super blind. Like I said, if I travel somewhere small, I could go to like a fly shop and be like, hey, what do you recommend? Kind of pick their brain.
Right.
Give me your top 3 flies that you're going to throw today.
Right.
I'll buy those, and probably catch fish. That was a new experience to learn quite a bit from. And like, I don't know if you could change anything and go back to like learn like maybe better flies to go throw now, and now I do know a little bit, if somebody's going to ask me, I'm like, all right, this is kind of this technique here, at least in the Paraná, flies, techniques. One thing I kind of learned too was like, trust the guide and they know what they're doing, but then at the same time, do what you want to do. If there's something really that you wanted to try, and people were maybe not thinking it's going to be the right thing. Yeah. Just go for it. Might as well try it. Right. Like,
I agree. It's your time. So it's like, if that's something you want to do, you should do it.
Right. Right. And like I said, kind of day 3, I was like, all right, all right, we've been throwing the same flies. We've been doing this thing, like, let's try this, let's try it. Like, I think people didn't think I could cast those big flies, or whatever it may be, And it's like, nah, we can do this. And then, so just go ahead and do it, and it paid off, which was super cool. and gave me a huge confidence boost. It's like, I don't really know about fly fishing. You've only been doing it for so long, like, but then when you do it yourself, it's like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, that's
cool.
Awesome. That's an aha moment.
And even that's kind of a regret. Nobody really wanted to use sinking line there. And I should have, I should have done it.
That was one of the things I was thinking of too.
Just to test it and try it. And maybe it sucked, maybe it didn't, and just.
Yeah. They were basically just saying you're going to be snagged the whole time. That's why they kept telling me not. Because I kept being like, really? I shouldn't use, like, not even like intermediate sink or, it's like,
right.
They're all coming from below.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And that's, talking to my brother next, like all his lures are diving down there and he's catching better fish, he's catching bigger fish than the fish we were catching up at the surface, except for that one kind of outlier fish that I had caught.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I think if you get down, like I even caught that one on the swing, the fly was probably down at, maybe 6-7 feet below the surface and I caught a fish, so like they're down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of like trusting your own gut, trusting your own instincts too about fishing and angling and applying the things that you're learning each day to the trip, especially once you have some success.
Yeah.
It opens up more doors, to be more flexible and try something new and, experiment a little bit, right? Like,
yeah.
Just kind of test things out and see if it works, Otherwise, we had talked about pictures. I've become a terrible documenter. That was something I learned. Like I said, my wife told me to get a new phone and I didn't, and I should have.
That's hilarious.
Because it's something I learned, I guess, maybe. It's just like, if you don't have it out and easily accessible, you're not going to use it. It's just
especially on the boat.
Humans are getting worse even with that. Like that's why the phone is so everywhere, because it's easy. Everyone literally has access to it in your pocket. You take it out, do photos, videos, whatever, and the cameras are good.
Yeah.
Really, I should have I had my camera with me, but it was just in my dry bag. So I should have just put it on the console, and used it. Like, just take it out and use it. Like, who cares? Like, if you don't have it readily available, you're not going to use it. I mean, I think that goes with fishing in general, especially, like if it's not easily accessible.
You have to dig in your bag, it's a chance it's not coming out.
It's never coming out of the
bag. So true. What about casting? Did you learn anything casting?
I did from you guys. I mean, that was super cool. Ramon's
I use it all the time.
The flick trick was so cool, dude. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and I had never seen that before ever.
It's so sick.
And he just hooked it to a tree and he's like, okay, watch this. On one of our breaks. He was just like, and the little wave, you could just see the wave hit the fly and just boop. I was like, oh my gosh, that's cool. So then I started trying it.
It's unreal.
For fun, It's just
we should tell the listeners a little bit about what it is, because that's only fair. So basically, Ramon, the guy that we had, who's awesome, we're going to use him again. He has this trick for getting unsnagged where he puts tension on the line. He holds the rod up, sort of up, like the cork's by his face. He's looking straight at the fly, and he strips in line so he's tight, and the rod is bent facing the snagged fly. And then he kind of pulls up and flicks the rod tip like you would at the end of your cast, and he makes a roll in the line. And the objective is to get that roll to slap against the hooked fly. And so you roll it, and when it slaps, it unjostles the fly that's stuck in the tree. And it's absolutely incredible. It works very well. It doesn't work if it's been wrapped around, if it's if the fly wraps all the way around the branch, it's not going to work. But if it's just stuck, it comes out instantly. It's just insane.
Yeah, that was a super cool. Ramon was a very impressive caster. I mean, in general,
yes,
that dude was a beast. I think it's because he had his hand gripper. He just brought that with him.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Which, I mean, I did learn that too. Maybe my hand strength isn't very good. I got blisters where I hadn't got blisters before.
Yeah, I had
after casting for 5 days. Thank goodness none of them popped. But
yeah, because that is the game. I mean, it's you're casting non-stop, which is really fun, but it does tire you out.
I mean, I'm casting a 9-weight for a couple hours at a time. And you're just going because you're well, I can't miss a cast. I just got to get in there.
Yeah.
Fish could be any cast. So then, yeah, that too, that was something I learned, but I had learned kind of previously before, you have to strip so fast for Dorado, like as fast as you can get it, like nice, big, hard strips fast.
Yeah.
So like you got to have some kind of finger protection, like, because line burn is real,
very.
And a couple times I didn't we're just started fishing and I was like, oh, I forgot my finger condoms, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I actually,
put your condom on.
They worked really well with those, just that tape.
Yeah, your tape worked well. The one I had, the cheap one, not so
much.
Get
the actual stuff, yeah.
You could just cut right through it.
Worked great, but I could tell a difference. Like I was afraid to strip across my fingers too hard when I didn't have them. So I was like, oh, this is never going to work if I actually catch a fish, or like I'm not stripping hard enough to even catch a fish, so like,
yeah.
That was definitely clutch.
Yeah, I'm always like, I'm not wearing gloves. My brother's always like, why don't you just get gloves? I'm like, no, dude, I don't like the way it feels when I cast. I hate it, blah, 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 blah. And after this trip, I was like, I have to get gloves. Like it was just, I shredded my hands.
Your hands were shredded, dude.
It was nuts, dude.
It was bad. I felt bad for you, man. It was...
It's crazy because I'm a climber. Like I shouldn't get any blisters. Like I've already gone through that whole thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like I said, I think maybe better hand strength, but maybe not.
No, I think that's all part of it, dude.
I almost always get one anyway. Like when I cast for like all day, like I'm fishing for like 6-8 hours, throwing a 6-weight around for smallmouth or whatever it is. And like, I do get one. It never breaks, but then I did get a weird one, a new one that I had never gotten before. But I'm not a glove person either, though. So
I hate them. But then you also end up getting the burns on where the line travels across your finger on the strip, right?
Mm.
So I was getting them like on the inside of my middle knuckle of my middle finger, because I would when I strip, it goes across there. And
I had both fingers.
Through.
I had middle finger and pointer finger wrapped with both, because I always strip across both too.
Oh, okay, smart. Yeah.
But
yeah, you gotta do that.
Learning,
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I think.
That does it. I love it. All right, so you learned some stuff. That's what I think is interesting about these trips. Like for me personally, like I leveled up my casting. I thought I had done that on my Mexico trip, and then on this one, especially doing them almost back to back, because I was had a month in between basically. This one really I don't even know how to describe it, but everything I learned in Mexico sort of super crystallized on this other trip, even though it was totally different. And I would say if I was to distill it down to one thing, it's just being hyper aware of when the rod loads. That was the really, really big takeaway from this trip was it's way slower than you think, way longer than you think, which, when I'm fishing for trout and fishing dry flies, it's I'm a decent caster, I've taken lessons. The guy's you can hit a target at 70 feet. You're solid, but I think I just got used to casting one rod really well. And then when I moved to other rods, it's the sort of that transfer of energy when your rod is loading. It's I'm not actually paying attention when I think I am. I've told myself I am, but actually the proof is in the pudding, where the first 3 days I wasn't casting very well, and the last 3 days it was this aha moment where I was oh wow, the rod is super loaded now, and now I need to do my forward cast, So I feel much better as a caster now. And for me personally, I probably would have never gotten to that point had I not been fishing in this style of fishing. And that's sort of the weird thing that I've learned about taking these trips, is because each situation puts you in a weird situation that you've never sort of been in. Mm-hmm. It makes you adapt, and you realize all the holes you have in your technique, and all the stuff that you think that but you actually don't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, and fishing for so many days in a row. I've never, fine, I'll fish 2 days. I have a family, so now even more. Time is super shorter. Maybe fish and camp one night and then just fish a little bit in the morning and then done.
Yeah, exactly.
So it condenses everything. So fishing for 5 days was interesting too. Day 4, I was toast. I was actually having a hard time casting day 4 in the morning. I was tired. I caught that nice fish day 3, and it was just so I had to work through that. It's worked through the slog. I could tell my casting was just crap. I was just flopping around. It just wasn't working out. I needed a breakfast too. So then I had an apple and a granola bar, and then I was all right, I'm back. you know, like, and taking that time to like stop, realize something's wrong, you know, like just take a minute and just sit there and enjoy it too. Sometimes, you know, like even my brother was funny. He was, I think we were fishing one of the sandbars, which were really cool. And I just stopped fishing, you know, like just to enjoy like the river and just where we were, you know, really appreciating like being there, you know, it's such a cool place. And catching some really cool fish and, you know, just to enjoy the place for what it was. You know, my brother was like, why'd you stop fishing? Just keep fishing. Like,
no, it's like you and I are emo. So like I did the same thing. I mean, every night we'd be driving back on the boat and I'd be like staring out into the distance and I'm like, I can't believe I'm here right now. This is insane. This place is so special. Like I was just like falling in love with this location.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot, you know, like you take a long time to get there. It's a lot of prep time. You know, like I said, I have a family, you know, the cost of trips and things. And it's just like, there's a bigger cost outside of dollars, you know, too. For me. And it's like, oh, you know, like I almost got emotional just standing in a river, you know, it's like very.
No, I know. I'm the same way, man. Yeah. It's cool though. It means that you're grateful. I mean, that's how I am. Every time I go on these trips, even when I go visit my family in Argentina, I'm like, I think about where I live and how far away I am from that place. And it's just like, it seems crazy, you know? It's like, I mapped it out one time, the distance from Chicago to Cordoba, where my family's from, which is like, you know, the center of Argentina, is the exact same distance from Chicago to Moscow.
Whoa.
It's really far away, you know? So when you think about it that way, you cross the whole globe to get to these places. And, you know, you hear about them all the time, so people don't realize, but it's like really far away. And they're exotic, you know? I'm Argentine, like I'm an actual citizen and like, you know, have gone there my entire life. And it's still exotic to me because I grew up in the US, you know what I mean? And you're just like, you see things that you would never see here, you know? So I think it's cool to stop and appreciate it. I did the same thing. I spent a lot of time just sort of like contemplating like how wonderful it was and trying to be really grateful and positive, you know? Even when things were going sour, I was like, that's fine. You know, it doesn't matter. We're here. It's cool. I love that you said that. I had a bunch of other questions, but I can cover a lot of them with your brother.
Sure.
Because we've been talking for a while.
I did spin fish, by the way, but
I'll talk to your brother about that. But tell me a little bit about that.
That was a regret too, that I should have, that one day, like day 4, I was like kind of tired of fly casting for like 3 days straight, a 9-weight, you know, it's like, all right. I should have just picked up the rod and it would have been super fun just to like spin fish,
spin
like
rod?
pretend like my brother and I are back, you know, fishing the backwaters and mangroves and stuff in Florida and just casting around and flicking things around. And
that's cool.
You know, I wish I would have done that too, but I didn't. But we did troll, you know, like that was cool.
Oh, that's right.
You know, like,
which was nuts.
Yeah. In between fishing, you know, like fly fishing, kind of like when it would start to slow down a little bit or feel like it was slowing down. It's like, all right, just troll some lures off the back, you know, like it was cool.
To
just do a different style of fishing, you know, and Brian was like, oh yeah, this is like the best way to catch big fish is like troll, you know, to the bottom, you know. And we did. We ended up, the last day was super awesome. We got the cool bonus fish, the surubi, big catfish with stripes. I mean, super beautiful. One of the most beautiful fish I've ever caught, really. I felt like just iridescent purple green kind of skin, just really beautiful and nice big one too, while we were trolling, you know.
That's like the classic fish of the Paraná River. A lot of people go there to fish for them.
Just fish for that.
It's basically like a leopard shark catfish or something. They are so cool. I was so happy when you guys caught that thing.
I was too, man. I was like, oh, dude, this is just icing on the cake. And like the last night, I was just like, whatever. I don't even need to fish. Like, but we got like, you know, we got the slam, you know, we got the pacu, the surubi, and the dorado, you know. So it was,
you guys
complete, man. Yeah,
I was happy too because I could send pictures to my brother-in-law and be like, because they fish there every year. They fish every year, and they're you know, they're just. He talks. They don't fly fish or anything either, so he's just like, you know, he scoffs at everything that we do. So I thought it was great because he was actually going the following week actually. So I sent him pictures and he was like, oh wow, you guys did really well. I was like, well, I tried to tell you, bro. I invited you on the trip.
You invited me. Nice.
I did. So
that's funny. Yeah, you could have fly fished for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've taken him out before.
Nice.
He's got a little hatchery, like stocker river behind his house. So I got him on some fish a couple times, just on streamers. Nice. Yeah. He's not really into it. He's like, he doesn't understand why you don't eat them. Like that's like his whole thing. Well, he actually sent me pictures of Dorados like butterflied over fire. And I was like in tears.
Well, it's funny coming back to Missouri. That's very in the culture here too. It's like, they're like, oh, did you eat any of the fish? I was like, no. And it was, for me, it's more of like respect for like the local people and stuff. Like I'm just visiting, like I'm not going to take resources from a place that people are actually using this resource,
That's cool. That's a great way of looking at it. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the first thing people ask me when I talk about it here. They're like, so what'd you eat?
That's
because it's just people hunt and fish here for,
for
harvesting.
Food,
yeah, for food.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily against it or anything. It just depends on the fishery, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's pretty good. I appreciate you coming on the show for real. I know it's like kind of a big pain in the butt to have to like meet after work and everything like that. So I really appreciate you coming on the show.
All good.
And I'm really appreciate you going on the trip. We had a really good time. And I think, my brother, your brother, we all sort of bonded in a very special way. So it was a win-win all around. We definitely need to do it again soon.
Super cool trip.
So cool. Well, I did want to mention that Bobby is Harbor Hunters on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, follow him.
Spelled the British way.
Yeah, spelled the British way, Harbor Hunters. And it's he's got a lot of cool fishy stuff on there. So check him out. If you got anything else you want to say before you leave?
Oh man, appreciate it. Appreciate the trip. It was awesome. Just what I needed this year, and it was a good time.
Thank you. And thanks for being on the show. We're gonna go talk to your brother now.
He's got good stories.
The Scientific Anglers segment.
And we are back with my fellow Michiganders, the Scientific Anglers fly line company based out of Midland, Michigan. Let's go. Let's go, Mitten. New subject for you on the SA segment here. What's the biggest difference between fly lines now, 2025 technology, and 20 years ago? Because I know, everyone says, and I've said it to myself actually, that we're like in the golden age of fly lines. But like, can you break this down for us? Just break it down and go through some differences that you would notice from then and now?
Yeah, I think so. So, we've always had some specific fly lines, always maybe being the wrong word, but for a long, long time, we've had, saltwater versus freshwater and so on. But I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 years ago, fly line manufacturers and Scientific Anglers certainly is one of the leaders in this. If not, in my opinion, they are the leader. But they started doing more technique specific or species specific type of fly lines. And that's what I would say that the biggest difference is in today's fly line market is there's a fly line tool for just about everything. If you want a carp line, there's a carp line. You want a redfish line, they don't just make a redfish line, they make a redfish warm and a redfish cold. So you have your summer warmer months and you have your winter colder months covered. Do you want a trout line that's an all-arounder? They've got it. You want a trout line that's super delicate? They've got you covered. Grab yourself a trout taper, right? You want something that's got a little more powerful delivery? Perfect. Get an MPX, get a Titan taper, get an Adro. There's all kinds of, more powerful delivery type of lines.
You know what they need to come out with?
What's that?
A line for micro fishing.
Micro? Is that when the person's very small or?
No, it's when you target like little bait fish.
You target bait fish?
Yeah, you never heard of this?
Sounds terrible. I'll let you do that. Well,
it's a real thing.
There's lots of real things out there that are not worthwhile.
Sorry, we're not trying to insult all the micro fishers out there.
If you love micro fishing, then carry on. Small trout are micro enough for me. I'm good with that.
When you're nymph fishing, you're not fishing for nymphs?
Not yet. I would love to nymph up a sculpin once in a while. It'd be kind of cool.
That is kind of sick.
It happens. People catch them every once in a while. Yeah, but getting back on track, I think, if you go back through Scientific Anglers in the last 20 years, the other thing that's changed is in floating lines, and it has some effect on some sinking lines too, but adding texturing to the lines to reduce friction. Going back to their shark skin and then their shark wave, and now what is what they call their amplitude textured series.
Yeah.
Having texturing to the lines is something that's new and that's changed in the last 20 years. What else? Technologies. If you go around the 20-year mark, maybe it's a little longer than that, 20 to 30 years, but the other difference was fly lines always had a core and then a coating, and they used to have a topical kind of slick agent added to the coating, and in the last 20-ish years. Most fly lines, especially the mid to higher end fly lines, have a slick agent that's built right into the coating, so it doesn't wear out. It lasts the life of the fly line. It's always there. Even if as you're using the line and you're wearing down the surface, you're just exposing more of that chemical or that material that's helping the line stay slick, and in many cases also helping it float.
That's cool. It's crazy they think of all this stuff.
The lab coats at SA, the scientific angler nerds, we love them.
Thank you, SA, for being nerdy, but we still want a microfishing line. You guys have already heard from Bobby. Hopefully he didn't spill too many beans for you guys, because we have a whole nother host of beans to go through right now with Billy. So Billy is Bobby's twin brother, and as we have mentioned, they went on an epic 40th B-Day adventure to the Upper Paraná River in East Argentina, as well as a crazy excursion afterwards to the Iguazu Falls, which I want to hear all about your experience there also. Billy, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? You can include, what you do for a living, or where you live, or how long you've been fishing, what styles and places you like to fish, what types of fishing, whatever you want, have at it.
Yep. As Pablo just mentioned, Bobby and myself, we went to go fishing for our 40th birthday. It was like a big thing. We're like, we got to go somewhere for our 40th birthday. And me and Bobby have been probably fishing since we were 8 years old.
That's crazy.
I mean, we fished, we had a little neighborhood, and our little neighborhood had a little lake, and this little lake always had bass in it. That was like the thing. We could just walk from our house down the sidewalk a little bit in our little neighborhood, and we go catch some fish. That was just like our thing. Sometimes we would time it where we could actually go before the school bus picks us up.
No.
We could run to the lake, see how many fish we can catch, and across the lake, we could see the school bus coming, and then we would hurry up and run back to our school stop and throw our fishing stuff in the garage.
That's incredible.
But yeah, we've been fishing for quite a long time.
Well, you could tell when I've seen you guys fish, you can tell you've been fishing for a long time.
My favorite is spinning fishing, which I know nobody else on this trip was using a spinning reel. Spinning reel is my bread and butter. That's pretty much what I use on a daily basis. Every once in a while, I'll throw a big bait caster, but that's usually just for down rigging for bigger fish like grouper and things like that.
Okay, cool. So wait, where do you live then? Where are you fishing with your spin rod?
So I live in Southwest Florida in a little town called Naples.
There's supposed to be a really good Argentine restaurant there, by the way.
Looking into it, I haven't found where it's at yet, but somebody's supposed to give me the address for it. And I'm I'm going to compare it to the real thing.
There you go. Boom. I love it.
But yeah, being in Southwest Florida has given me a lot of opportunities to do all kinds of fishing, because we literally have waterways every 2 miles. There's a waterway. There's fish in that waterway. If it's not a quarry that somebody dug out, it's a natural lake or spring. Every roadway has a canal in it, and everything's connected to one thing or another, and all those things have fish in it.
That is a lovely setup. What I really thought was cool was that you were doing spin fishing. You were the only non-fly angler in the group. And for me, it was a total joy because, at the very beginning of this podcast, when I started it, I was such a noob and I really had no perspective on sort of the world of fishing in general. I had done very basic bait fishing. That's pretty much it. And I started this show very naive, and I sort of, as many people do when they start with no backstory and they start fly fishing, they get this sense of entitlement of ooh, I'm a fly fisher. And it's different than spin fishing or conventional angling. And it's there's this sort of fork in the road that it sends people down this path, I think. So I was really stoked when I found out that you were a conventional angler, because there's so much to learn from you guys. And I remember in I don't know which episode it was, but I kind of asked Lance, I was like, don't you think and this is, I'm being totally transparent here, but I was like, don't you think that fly fishers spend more time thinking about the quarry and like doing a lot more research. And I can't remember how I worded it, but it was the dumbest thing I could have possibly said in the world. So I would like to just announce that here with a excellent conventional angler on the other line. I come to learn that you guys are way more dialed than we are. You guys spend way more time thinking about it than a lot of people do. And I think it's just a different way of attacking the sport. You know, and each one has its like pluses and minuses. And in some cases, one beats out the other. I would say typically conventional angling beats out fly fishing as far as like amount of fish or size of fish. Like it's usually a lot easier. Well, maybe not easier, but like more likely that you'll catch a fish on conventional angling. I don't know if you have an opinion on that, but
I said Bobby would definitely have an opinion on that because when he comes down, he's fly fishing, I'm spinning reel, and it's always a competition.
Yeah,
regardless if we say it or not.
That's hilarious.
Two anglers fishing next to each other, it's always a competition.
That's hilarious.
And some days he beats out the spinning reel. Other days the spinning reel beats out. It just varies whatever the fish want that particular day. They want something light and finessey, or they want something heavy and noisy.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is getting me very happy and excited. I'm so glad you're on this. It's been long overdue. I should have had a conventional angler come on a long time ago. So, and Lance actually, he does conventional angling. You know, he's known as this like crazy fly fisher, and that's why we have a podcast together. But he takes trips sometimes, and you know, like he took his son out for sturgeon. He's like, I'm not going to use a fly rod for that. You know, it's like
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, seriously. So he adapts sort of to the situation, which I think is a cool thing to do. Myself personally. Sorry, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think it's such a topic that we've never covered on this show. So I think it's cool. Myself personally, this last trip that I took to Mexico was a fly fishing trip for me, and the clients were all fly fishers. But one of the fly fishers had he got there and he had like really bad tennis elbow. He couldn't cast. So the guides decided that it was best we just set him up with spinning rig, and he did conventional angling for 5 days straight. This is a guy who only fly fishes, an Argentine guy, and he had the best time. He had a total blast. He had so much fun. I was even on the boat with him, and he was like, dude, this is like, I don't know. I've been fly fishing my whole life, but this is a whole lot of fun too, you know? And so much so that there was a spot where we were fishing where there's like this canal that connects the flats to the open ocean, and you can kind of drift it like you're in a drift boat on a river. So we would post up at the top of it and just cast. Only one person could fish with a fly. So 2 other people would be on the back just launching lures on a spinning rod. And it was so fun. Just seeing these jacks just come up and like crush these lures. It was just epic. So I'm definitely in the mind frame that conventional angling is just as fun and can be more fun than fly fishing, depending on the situation.
That's the whole point at the end of the day. If you're not going out for just food, you're going out to have fun.
Yeah.
And I think people just forget that. Even if you're not catching fish, take a moment to just look around where you're at.
Exactly.
It's usually a beautiful place. Just take a moment. You're out there to have fun.
Okay, well, that's a good segue, because one of the things that I noticed about you and Bobby is how your perspective was exactly that. Even when my outfitter tried to set up the trip, Bobby was very specific to me. He's like, look, man, like I've been fishing my whole life. So has my brother. We love fishing. We're diehard about it, but we also want to go experience the culture. We want to go see the fauna. We want to go to a place we've never been and have our minds blown, which is actually why he reached out to me, because he knew that I was putting together sort of these bespoke trips for people. And I noticed that you guys were looking at the birds the whole time and paying a lot of attention to things that weren't fishy. And I thought that was so cool, because it's really a way to, it's the way you should experience things when you travel, is like not keep the blinders on, but really be open to the experience, the food, the culture, the fauna, everything, right? That's what makes it a real package. So that was really cool to see you guys sort of immersed in that. So let's get back to a little bit of the fishing portion of this, and then we'll move on to the more trip experience part of it. As far as the fishing goes, I was so impressed. I was not on your boat while you guys were fishing, but I saw your rigs, and they were just crazy. He had like, how many rods did you bring?
Just 2 rods.
You had 2 rods.
2 rods, 2 reels. That's all I brought. They were nothing fancy. The rods were a 7.9 Muskie Predator from Bass Pro Shop, $100 each. It was the only rod I could find that was in a heavy, that was a 2-piece. Then the reels I had, both exactly the same. They're Shimano Stratix C14s.
Okay.
They're probably each 8 years old now. And I just set them up with a 30-pound braid, which was different for me because usually I'm fishing super light tackle to catch big fish.
Okay.
But I was told to bring heavy stuff for heavy fish, so that's what I brought.
Okay, fair. And then your lures were like pieces of art, which was crazy.
Oh, yes.
First of all, they were like 12 inches
huge.
long.
They were absolutely massive lures. Again, I was told that for fishing these particular type of fish we were fishing, that you needed massive lures for them to be enticed to bite.
Yeah.
Which I guess worked out well, but in the end, we were still using smaller, normal size crankbaits some parts of the time. And those worked just as well as the large lures as well.
Okay. Cool. And there, you were saying there was one that worked really, really well for you when I was there, right? I don't know if you want to keep that a secret or if you want to reveal it to the general public.
That was actually one that the guide gave us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have it here. I don't know the name of it. He says the company on the lure itself is, I think, NB something.
Oh, I was talking about the perch one.
Oh, the perch one.
I just thought it was interesting because it was a perch pattern and there's not.
Yeah, it was a
perch in it.
Rapala, but it was a big perch pattern.
That's
And,
so funny.
We were like, this is a perch, but it's not really a perch.
Yeah, exactly. Try it out.
But yeah, they liked it. We had the same lure in like 3 different types, and by far they liked the perch pattern the best.
That's crazy. That's so cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the nitty gritty here of the trip. So the first couple of days you were kind of getting your bearings, getting dialed, I remember. And then there was a turning point where like you cracked the code and then you started crushing from what I could see. I wanted to know what was the code that you cracked?
Okay, so this is what happened. First couple days we go out and we would float fish the Paraná, but we're looking through fishing like heavy brush areas where there's trees and stuff that have fallen into the water and the fish just hang off of those particular spots. Well, when we first went out, I'm like, well, they got to be around the sticks. Like, they're like, oh, they're not going to be in the sticks. They're going to be around the sticks.
Yeah.
But really, they are like in them. Like, they sit in them.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, I don't know how they can even get up to the surface as quickly as they do, but they literally sit in the brush that's in the waterways.
Right.
So like the structure holds the fish, but I mean, they're like hugging the structure.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I first started going out, I'm literally casting in every direction imaginable because I don't know where the fish are really at. The guy brings us to the spot and then he's like, cast here, and we're casting. Well, after like the 3rd day, I realized that, I mean, you got to just cast directly onto the fish. That's where they're going to be at, right under the structure. So even a couple times as the current's flowing through the river, if you miss a cast or you're slightly off of the brush or the cover, just give your lure a second to float to the structure and then give it a good yank. And sometimes there's a fish right there.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, I mean, first couple days it was like 3 to 4 fish, and then by the end of the 5th day, we were catching 7, 8 fish, and we even stopped taking pictures of them because it wasn't the biggest fish anymore.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys were crushing. That was so sick. And I have to say, I watched you fish from the boat. Our boats were close to each other, and your accuracy with that thing was nuts. Like, you were just dropping dimes. It was so cool to watch.
So where I learned to really do that is I'm big into kayak fishing lately, like the last 6 years. That's been my thing because it beats a boat because you don't have to clean anything.
Yeah, it's
I'm
true.
just lazy that way. It's like, I just want to throw my stuff in, throw it in the bed of the truck and go. No gas, no nothing to worry about. So what I usually do is when I'm fishing saltwater, I'm fishing mangroves.
Okay.
And I dialed in my casting for the last 15 years fishing mangroves where I'm casting either directly underneath or just right on the edge of mangrove forest. And it's practically the same thing except for the currents stronger in the river than fishing in the salt.
Well, the proof is in the pudding because I was freaking out when I saw you casting. You were just like hitting every fishy spot, like spot on. It was really cool to watch. One of the questions I had for you, because I noticed, we spent a lot of time on the boats, but you guys were actually doing quite a bit of wade fishing also.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about the wade fishing experience and if you preferred one over the other.
So I'm not new to wade fishing. I've done beach fishing here in Florida, and it's pretty much the same thing. You find a moving body of water and you wade out to about your waist deep, and then you start casting. If you're fishing live bait, then you just let it sit out there. And it was about the same thing where you walk out to about is waist deep water and you're casting where the ledge is from where you can step to where it just drops off. And we actually only had one fish on the entire time we wade fished. I think that's mostly due to the time frame that we caught most of these fish. Like these fish were most active at sun up and at sundown. But basically most of the time that we switched to wade fishing was during the noon hours before we would head in for lunch.
Right.
And what the guy told us is the fish like to comb these areas of the sand where it drops off to catch their bait, while other fish are on the sand flats, but sometimes they venture off the little ledge and then they'll come up and grab them.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of that classic setup, but you get a lot of that in surf fishing with like the troughs and like the rip tides. It's very similar. Well, that's
Water
cool.
wasn't that cold, so it was okay. It was a nice cool off, especially in the mid-afternoons.
Yeah, it's a cool river. And it's like you see pictures of it and it looks like so chocolatey brown, but it's not really. It's like pretty.
It's the sand, I think, that gives it a lot of its color. The sand is a very, it's not rough, but the granules are quite large.
Yeah.
But they're not like pebble size. The only time I've ever seen sand like it. And I mean, I've seen East Coast sand and Lake Michigan sand and South Coast sand, but yeah, it has its own type of sand, but the sand is like a golden brownish color.
Yeah, very unique place. Okay, what species were you kind of, I know it's golden Dorado, but you caught a bunch of other species too, and one in particular that's kind of historic for that area that most fly fishers don't actually get into. Why don't you talk a little bit about the different species that you guys targeted?
So we really went out there. I mean, I only had one species on my mind, and that was golden Dorado.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, all right, you got to catch one of these things. I'm like, well, this is what I'm going to go for, are these golden Dorados. And I'm like, all right, we're going to get these things, and everything I brought was going to be for these golden Dorado.
Yeah.
And we ended up catching quite a few golden Dorado and some big ones too.
Yeah, you did.
But we also caught what they call clockfish. I forgot what the Spanish word for clock is.
Relojito. They call it little clocks.
They're little clockfish. They're like super flat and round. And then, of course, we caught you have to remind me of the name.
The pacu?
The pacu. And it was interesting because when we went to go get the pacu, I thought I was going to have to learn how to fly fish. I was like, oh, this is the only way you catch these things.
That's right. I lent you my 6-weight.
Yeah, you lent me the 6-weight. And the guy's like, no, you don't even have to bother with that. So he brought out these little fruits that he had soaked in vanilla. And we would just put a little hook on with the fruit on. And it's the same thing where you just kind of lob it near where there's a tree hanging over the water. And they think it's a berry falling into the water.
Yeah.
And really, they're almost exactly like sheephead fishing, where they just nibble little bits off, and then you just got to set the hook at the right time to get them.
Oh, that's cool. That's a nice little parallel there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun catching those pacu. They were
the golden Dorado remind me of snook fishing.
Oh, interesting.
The way that they sit under structure and the way that they launch into the air. It remind me a lot of snook fishing.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that was kind of the joke, actually, that we had going because Billy kept on saying, this place is just like Florida.
Yeah. The bugs, the mosquito, the green grass, the humidity, just like Florida.
It's so funny. And he would look out the window of the mobile edge and he'd be like, it looks like I'm in Florida. And we were just dying about that.
We got cows and horses running around all over the place. If you go inland, that's just what Florida looks like, which is crazy. Funny. One of the fish that we caught that was kind of not on our sight, or we were going to think we were going to catch, was a tsurubi. Halfway during the midday, again, I think it was after morning, where the fishing kind of slowed down. He's like, we're going to troll. So we threw on the big perch Rapala.
Nice.
And I threw on a Fire Tiger one. And Bobby had one of my spinning reels, and I had the other spinning reel. And we're just sitting off the back of the boat trolling. And we had the line out probably 300 to 400 feet, quite a far out.
Yeah.
And we would just skirt the coast, probably 80 feet off of the coast, and going back and forth. We hit like a sandy spot. Like I felt my lure scrape against the sandy ground, and Bobby's did the same. But man, all of a sudden that fish just grabbed it and ran.
Wow.
And then we waited for it to jump, because earlier in the week I did catch one on trolling.
Dorado, you're saying.
But it got off. Yeah, a huge Dorado.
Yeah.
And it got off on the second head shake. But this fish never came to the surface. It just hugged the bottom, but it ran off. So we had no idea what it was going to be. We thought maybe it was a stingray, but it ended up being the big old catfish that doesn't look like a catfish.
Yeah, they basically look like leopard sharks. They're like gray with like that iridescent sort of skin.
Almost,
and then they're
like
painted like tigers.
Yeah, like a sea trout mixed with the leopard trout, and then they have a face of a duck.
Yeah, they have like
their faces are very
face.
Yeah, it's such a weird catfish.
They're
if
so
you get
cool.
a chance, you gotta look it up on the
Yeah,
internet.
tsurubi.
Tsurubi.
We can put it in the show notes. And in Argentina, they're like super famous fish. People go to this area of Argentina specifically to catch them. Some, I might say, would go there more for them than they do for the Dorado, because they're really good eating, because it's a catfish. But like my brother-in-law, he was actually in the Alto Paraná the week after we were there, and they're always trying to catch tsurubi, and they always cook, and when they catch them, they cook them. And I didn't even think it was a possibility that you could catch one on like a lure, because to me that's like the classic bait fishing fish in Argentina is for tsurubi. So
yeah, it's a catfish. Usually it's a bottom feeding fish, so they're usually just eating whatever sinks to the bottom.
Exactly.
So yeah, trolling and catching a catfish is that's a new one for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
Me too. All right, well, very cool. So I guess let's keep moving on. It sounds like you guys had a blast fishing, which I could tell you did.
Absolute blast fishing. I would recommend anybody to go give it a try. Golden Dorado are an absolute blast to catch. They are hard to hook. Just to let you know, you got to yank on them. Pretend like you're doing a American bass fishing tournament fishing guy, where you're just like yanking your hands above your head. But you got to set that hook really good. We learned that the first 3 or 4 that we had on the line. You got to really set that hook into their mouth.
Yeah, they have such a bony jaw that it's really hard to hook them. I lost so many fish.
Yep, and they got some teeth, man.
Yeah.
We were definitely using steel leader, and they were chewing up that steel leader like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, they definitely do. They're ominous, man. They're cool fish. All right, but let's keep moving on. So what was cool about your trip in particular, that was one of the things that Bobby wanted to work out with me, was that he wanted to try out the mobile lodge that we have that's exclusive to our outfitter. And, in full transparency, I had never actually been on it, because I just started this outfitter. So my business partner in Argentina, Santi, he's, taken that thing all over the place. They've done a bunch of trips with client groups and stuff, because he's had a company down there for a while. And he sort of had been pitching it as the mobile lodge, which I think is kind of a name that I probably won't use that much anymore, because it's basically like an overlanding truck.
Yes.
That's the coolest truck you've ever been on, because it's massive, and they cut the top off and put hydraulics on it so you can like stand in the upstairs. But it is a truck. It's like you're camping, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Which makes that different from a lodge, in my opinion. But tell me a little bit about your experience on the mobile lodge. Was there any like memory that you'll cherish forever, and just explain your time there? If you had a good time, a bad time, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was great. I thought the mobile lodge was really cool. I wouldn't mind having one of those here in the United States. Not at all. So yeah, we got picked up by the mobile lodge. and then drove to that gas station was kind of our
A refuge.
little main our little HQ that we had set up.
Yeah. Well, that was because of the rain, because we couldn't access what we were trying to get. The lodge would have gotten stuck, right?
Correct. Yeah. So the first day when we got there, we kind of lost a half day of fishing because it was just going to be way too wet for this heavy vehicle to get out there. And I mean, this thing was got to be heavy.
Yeah. It's massive.
So it is just like a, I don't know, tractor trailer that's enclosed on the back with hydraulic lifts for the second floor. The lodge is great. I mean, there's plenty of room on the inside for everybody to sit. There was plenty of room for everybody to sleep.
Yeah.
Bathroom worked fine. Showers worked fine. Cooking was great. Oh my God, the food. I guess
Yeah, why don't we talk a little
about
about
have
the
a
food?
section about the food later.
Okay, fair.
But yeah, the structure kept all the bugs out, which was great. Yeah, I mean, the setup is great. I mean, I would say it's just as equivalent as a lodge or a hotel.
Nice.
I mean, it has AC, we had fans, we had generator, we had running water, had a refrigerator full of beer.
Yep. Yeah, all the essentials.
Yep, all the essentials.
And you sleep on like a real mattress. Like we had, at one point we had like 6 people up there, 7 people up there or something. 6, I think, right? When it was like Santi and
6, and I think it really had room for 7.
Yeah,
if
definitely.
we had none of the luggage.
True.
We could definitely fit 7 up there. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was comfortable. There was enough room to walk around. You're not like tripping over anybody or anything.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how much room there is up there.
Yeah.
You don't realize.
Yeah, mosquitoes weren't too bad. So when we had the windows open, I mean, we couldn't ask for nicer weather to have the windows open at night.
The
It
weather
was
great.
excellent.
Yeah, after the rain, that first day, everything just panned out perfectly, and it was awesome.
We didn't have to turn the AC on or anything. It was just perfect the way it was at.
Yeah, and then one of the craziest things that I've ever been a part of was actually camping at an airport.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we camped at the airport. Also having the Starlink to upload photos and talk to loved ones.
Yeah.
That was excellent to have as too.
Yeah, that was
the first time I ever used that as well.
Yeah, we got the Starlink for you guys because we knew that people were going to have to talk to their family. So
Oh, yeah, I need to watch my internet, Netflix or whatnot.
that's clutch.
I think I was watching YouTube fishing videos while we were on the downtime anyway.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's the thing. You can do a little research while you're out there too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There is no research videos or fishing videos that really explain how to fish for golden Dorados.
Yeah,
Trust
we were talking about that
the
with Bobby.
6 months that we had preparing and prepping for this, I scoured the internet looking for information, and it's really hit or miss. A lot of it's just live bait fishing from people weight fishing, and that's about it. Everything else, it seems like, well, one guy tried this before and it worked, or one guy tried this before and it worked, but it's never like a consistent thing. So it was definitely hard to get a lot more information about this area and how to fish it.
Yeah, Bobby was telling me that too, and we were talking about maybe trying to put something together to inform the public. And with the Outfitter, we actually have 4 technically, but styles of Dorado fishing. We have 3 different types. You know, there's like large river on speedboats, which is what we just did, but we also have Rio Dorado, which is like a small creek, and it's like sight fishing to them, and like they're like in 1.5 foot of water, and they're super spooky. You have to make these really long casts, like standing behind them. It's basically like sight fishing for a trout, which presents a bunch of other problems, you know?
Yeah.
So we were talking about maybe trying to put something together because there really is just nothing out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's no like Wikipedia under Golden Dorado that tells you, hey, go buy this setup and this will guarantee you some fish in this particular area. It probably doesn't help that the river is ungodly long and large and
it's true.
twists and turns and is different sizes at different points and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the reasons we fished where we fished, which was why we got stuck at the gas station, was because the place where we went is pretty hard to get to, considering, you know, a bunch of people go out there with boats and whatnot. So the reason we fished that area is because it's much less pressured than a lot of the other parts, like where my brother-in-law goes every year. So it helps to kind of know where to go too, because if, you know, there's places you can go on the Paraná River where you'll be like next to 5 other boats. You know what I mean? So that was all part of the plan for you guys, was to take you to a place that was more off the beaten path. But
it was definitely off the beaten path, that's for sure. Very rural.
yeah, exactly. So what about the food? You said that you loved the food, huh?
Oh my God. The food was excellent. We had steak, we had
Milanesa.
we had the flatbreads, we had
Right.
the salads, the wine. Oh my God. The wine is so cheap and so good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where the America gets their prices for wine, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
The terroir here is very expensive.
Yeah,
It's expensive to have a winery in the U.S., that's why, but
yeah, apparently.
different conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, even the beer we had, even though it was a little flat, was just as good.
Yeah, it was really good. And what was cool, because you guys had a private chef and he was cooking on a wood fire the entire time. This guy was making everything on
like
the wood
a
fire.
big fire, and a lot of fried foods, which was surprising, like onion rings and things like that.
Yeah, totally.
And those were great. I mean,
Those
I
little
never even
sides.
thought to make onion rings on an open flame.
Yeah, that's the Argentine way, man.
Yeah.
It's cool, though, because you don't really see that very often. And what's cool about Cesar, the chef that we got, is that he comes from the country. So he grew up and kind of cut his teeth cooking on an open fire. So you're getting really authentic stuff when you get that guy out. So it's pretty cool.
I mean, we even had caiman, which was interesting. I mean, some people are like, "Oh, I've never had lizard before," but that's a thing down here in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, in Florida,
we don't have caimans, but we have alligators, and
Yeah.
we eat alligators.
Yeah. We basically ate fried alligator one day for lunch, and it was good.
It was like country fried.
Yeah, it was
So
a
it was
country
like-
fried.
It was like the gator tail or caiman tail, but hammered flat and then seasoned and then breaded, and it was excellent.
It was actually
Excellent.
really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That's so
I
funny.
mean, that might be a way to teach them how to cook it here, because sometimes here it's a little chewy,
Yeah.
and they usually down here they do it in gator bites, so that it's almost like popcorn shrimp,
Okay.
but it's gator bites.
Okay. Fair.
I mean, the chicken was good. I mean, the meat couldn't be any fresher. We literally haggled with the butcher to get the meat for
Yeah.
the camping trip.
Yeah, I got kind of ornery there.
It's very interesting to go into the butcher shop like an old-fashioned butcher and swing the meat over for us to pick what we want off of it.
Yeah, you saw me in my element, man.
Mm-hmm. You're bargaining for the meat.
I was not going to let them give us some of the cheap cuts they're trying to get rid of. That was pretty funny. All right, well, let's keep moving on. So lastly, I did want to talk to you about your trip to Iguazu, because that was an excursion that you guys added on the end of the trip, which we also put together for you guys. My business partner's brother has a travel agency in Argentina. So one of the things that's cool is that we can plan these trips that do fly fishing and then also anywhere else you want to go. So when Bobby said you guys wanted to go there, I was like so pumped, because I've always wanted to go to Iguazu Falls and I've never been. So it's one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Correct.
And it's puts Niagara to shame, right?
Oh my God. Niagara Falls sucks. Let me tell you, these falls are way better than Niagara Falls.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about what you guys did.
So we took once we got back to Buenos Aires, we took a plane to Iguazu. Then we hopped on a shuttle bus to this hotel. I forgot what the name of the hotel is. I'd have to look it up. But it was a refurbished missionary.
Right.
That was, if you're an architect fan, to see this thing was really cool, how they refurbished the place. And again, it's right on the river. Like, it's all the rivers connect like right there. Our river where we were fishing was like a little bit steep, but this where we were at, I mean, it had to be like 1,000-foot drop. It was just
wow.
like you couldn't just like walk down to the water. That you would be climbing down to the water.
That's crazy.
So we were like overlooking this ridge, and it was like a T or a crossroad intersection of where the river was. And again, beautiful views.
Yeah.
One thing Florida doesn't have is elevation change. Everything's flat.
Right.
So I'm always psyched when I see elevation changes. My knee is never psyched for it, but I am always psyched for it.
Fair.
So we got to the hotel, which was great. I love the hotel. The food was excellent at the hotel as well. We got to try all the fish that we caught pretty much at the hotel. I saw it on the menu. I'm like, all right, today we're getting this and the next day we're getting that.
That's awesome.
And they would take us the following day from the hotel to it's like a wildlife sanctuary for where the Iguazu Falls are at. Mm-hmm. And the first day was on the Argentina side, and we get on the bus. They take us there. We get our tickets. We'll wait in line, and you hop on it's a small train, and you take the small train up to what they call the Devil's Throat, and it's literally the place where, like, the main center of the waterfall. And you're literally right on top of it.
Wow!
Like, you can't even hear yourself talk because the waterfall's literally right there, and you're able to look down, and you're like look out to see where all the other waterfalls are, because it's not just like one big waterfall like Niagara Falls. There's like literally waterfalls for like half a mile.
Yeah.
On either side of this area where all the water is just converging and going down. And again, the wildlife, we're like looking around for all the wildlife there, and the wildlife, all the different types of birds, they're just everywhere. And it's unbelievably beautiful. There is a lot of people. It's definitely, I would say, like more touristy than where we went fishing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's a major destination.
Rural to touristy.
I mean, I would say it's the Argentine Grand Canyon. It's like, that's how it's revered there. You know?
And there was a lot of other peoples from all over the world, which was kind of unique. There's people from Spain. There's people from Germany. There's people from Italy. And everyone's just come to see the falls. One thing I did notice, the temperature at the falls was about 94 degrees and extremely humid.
Wow.
Which to me, again, is more like Florida. So I know.
Well, you had gone even more northeast.
Yeah, and it was quite a big temperature change just from those two sections. Like,
that's crazy.
I would thought we were like, it's going to be like 30 minutes away, but it's really not. We're like hundreds of miles away.
Yeah. Yeah, same river too. That's what's crazy. It's the Paraná goes right through there.
Same river. And one of the things our guide mentioned on our walk, I think it was like 11-kilometer walk after we saw the Devil's Throat, was that the fish species at the top of the river of the falls and the fish species at the bottom of the river are actually not even the same genome because they evolve differently. And they're not even connected to each other anymore. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I guess anything that falls over the falls is done for.
That makes sense.
Because it's just so much water.
Yeah. I don't think you can survive that in a barrel.
No. I guess apparently back in the olden times, that's where they threw off everything that they considered evil.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Including people. I guess it's just like, oh, you're evil. They'll just chuck you
Devil's
over the throat. Yep, exactly.
That's crazy. That's so cool.
Yeah, the only disappointing part that we had was we were scheduled to take a boat ride into the falls.
Oh,
and
right.
They literally take you into the falls, and they canceled it on us.
I remember.
So that was the only disappointing thing
about that.
Yeah,
that sucks.
It sucked. Because also we could see other boats still going in it, but they're like, oh, those are the Brazilian guys. Those guys will go whenever. But the Argentinian side said it was unsafe to go for whatever reason.
Interesting. You know, it's kind of funny because typically the Argentines don't care about safety at all. So that's the first time I've ever heard of an Argentine caring about safety. I mean, I used to every year because, Christmas time is summertime down there. So when I was a kid, my mom's sister's side of the family, they own a kiosk and they sell fireworks for Christmas and the New Year.
Nice.
And as a child, I remember being 10, 11 years old, getting like this massive mortar, like this size of a softball, like wrapped in like butcher paper. And we would tie all our G.I. Joes to that thing. The wick was like probably 2 feet long and you would light it and run.
Yeah.
And it would shake the entire neighborhood. boom, rattle all the windows and everything. And that was just like standard fare back then.
Yeah, here's a hand grenade, kid. Go have
exactly,
fun.
pretty much. So safety's never been a concern.
Yeah, that's always everyone's childhood back in the day.
Exactly.
Before anybody was on computers all day long.
That's true.
You're all outside blowing stuff up.
But you still drive around Argentina and you see like the couple on the moped with like the 2-month-old baby in the middle, sandwiched in the middle, no helmets. Like it's very common fare.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, all the different cars was unique to see it also. I mean, like most of these cars we don't see in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cultural experience. I mean, even for me, it's funny. I've been going to the same place in Argentina my entire life, which is Cordoba. It's where my family's from. It's where my wife's from. And my parents. And I've only seen such a small part of Cordoba. And I'm like, oh, this is Argentine culture. And then as I've traveled more and more, I realized that it's just like the US. You get different accents, you get different food, you get different topography. It's pretty cool.
Can't believe how big Argentina really is. Like to me, I'm like, oh, it's like, again, like you think it's just going to be like one little part, like Uruguay. And it's like, oh, it's just this one little area.
Yeah.
It is massive, and each destination has its own wonders, I guess.
Yeah, its own flavor.
The way to put it.
Mm-hmm. So true. Yeah, because most people think of Argentina and they think of Buenos Aires and they think of Patagonia, or they think of Mendoza, which is wine country, but they don't really even know the name of it.
Yeah.
But really, when you start to sort of venture out, you realize that, I mean, there's so much in the northern part, which is where we were, and where I shot my short film, which was on the northern part, but on the western side, the Altiplano. There's so much over there that is just totally undiscovered, I think, for a lot of tourists. So, yeah, it's a cool country, man. I'm glad that you were able to go.
Yeah, you can go back several times. And if you go to a different location, you're going to see different stuff every time. Also, for the falls, we did go to the Brazilian side, which not just in Argentina, but the Brazilian side has the way better view.
Oh, really? That's good to know.
Yeah. So the Brazilian side, you're literally looking at the falls.
I see.
And you're able to see like where it's going all the way down to the water and all the way up. And it's a shorter walk, but they do have the better view. So if you can only choose one or the other, I would choose the Brazilian side.
Okay. That's a hot tip right there, y'all.
Yeah.
I do like hot tips, and if it has to, Brazil's our like nemesis as far as football goes, but but not when it comes to good vantage points to see the falls. I'm all about going to Brazil for that. So
yeah, and it's super quick and not painful. You just literally go across the border. They ask to see your passport. Make sure you only have the one passport. They mentioned that several times. If you have dual citizenship, just bring the one passport.
Okay,
and they just a busload of people. You go over, come back. We did go to the bird park, which is like a bird sanctuary.
Yeah.
Which was really nice to see all the different types of birds. Like, I'd never seen Paraguay falcons before, or I'd never seen a toucan before. Those were new for me. Like, I've seen macaws and stuff, but, we saw parrots, plenty of parrots when we were out fishing.
Yeah.
But there was some birds that we haven't seen before, which was very unique to see. I would recommend that as well for people to see. And that was on the Argentina side, the bird park.
Very, very cool. Yeah, the Argentines have to make up for the view, so they throw you the bird park.
Bird park, which is literally right across the street from the falls. It's like right across the street.
Well, dude, I'm so glad that you guys came. I'm so glad that I got to know you, and we had a blast. That was a really fun trip, man.
It was excellent.
All right, well, cool, dude. I really appreciate you being on the show. It's been a true pleasure to get to know you through the trip.
Yeah, it was excellent.
And I had a lot of fun just hanging out with you the whole trip. So we have a lifelong adventure underneath our belt. Hopefully we get to go on more.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. I'm definitely looking forward to more.
All right.
I know Bobby says he wants to go to South Africa now.
That sounds fun.
He's been to South Africa before, but he wants to go fishing now in South Africa.
That's cool. That's a genius idea.
My vote's for Australia, though. I want to go fishing in Australia.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that too. We were talking to a guy down there about setting some stuff up, actually. But yeah, well, the world's small. It's crazy. And there's so many places to see. So
Oh yeah.
Get out there and do it. That's kind of that's the message, right?
Get out there and do it. I mean, I've seen enough stuff in my lifetime to know that it is not worth waiting for.
Yeah, exactly. It's true, man.
Run up them credit card bills. Get out there and do it. Just, it's not worth waiting.
Well, that's part of the reason we started the Outfitter, man. We're trying to bring like real pricing to these trips and not make it be some like thing that you have to be like a multi-millionaire to go on, you know?
And I'm just a mechanic. I don't have some 401k giant stock shareholders things or anything like that. And just a normal blue collar guy, and I was able to do this trip.
Very cool, man.
It's definitely worth spending some money on.
That was the goal for us for me personally, when I started the Outfitter, was just to make it accessible and bring it to, I mean, everyone should be able to get a cool experience like that, you know?
And it's really cool to see the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, America's great and all, but there's so much more to see.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Beautiful, man. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and
thanks for having me.
We'll be in touch, brother. All right, y'all. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, send it to somebody. If you know somebody going on a Dorado trip, definitely send it to them. Or if you're looking to go on any of the trips that I offer, email me at Pablo@Criollo, Criollo, campoutfitters.com. That's Pablo@CriolloCampOutfitters.com. Likes and subscribes, as much as it's cliche to ask for, it really does help the show grow, and it helps people find us. It helps the algorithm buzzing about in the background. So if you can, please go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us the stars, give us the comments, give us the likes, and then follow us on Instagram as well at the Noob and the Knower. That's all underscore in between the words. If there's a period in there, that was somebody that tried to scam us about 2 years ago, so don't use that one. But other than that, we really appreciate you guys listening in. Lance will be in on the next one, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Fish on.
Once you get the stink off, it just helps you relax.